Alright, Geordie Prepper here, and I'm talking about resetting my preps in this video. So why am I resetting my preps? I'll give you a brief history behind it, and then I'll talk about why it's been a really good thing for me so far. So obviously initially when I discovered prepping, I was in a fortunate situation where I was able to get any prep that I wanted and which I felt would be a good part of my preps. And I was able to just do my research on it, and if I felt that I wanted it and it was a good thing to have in my preps, then I was able to just get it. And this continued for the first few years of my prepping. And, situations and circumstances change. So I wasn't able to get anything new with my preps. And then obviously I had to use quite a big portion of my perishable preps. So that's emergency food, rations, and any sort of stockpile of food. That all had to be used and consumed. So what I've been left with is like the bulk of the physical part of my preps. So that's tools, equipment, books, resources like that. And obviously then things which are still perishable but have like an extended life, such as water purification tablets, drugs, things which I use, which are part of my preps, but I use quite often. So when I'm out walking, I'll take part of my prepping with me, but I'll put it back in its prepper location once I'm back on site. That has continued on, but really in the past couple of years or more, I haven't been in a position to advance my preps forward. So I haven't really been checking my preps for 2 or 3 years, except for the Check Your Preps campaign. And actually one of the reasons why that campaign came about was because in the initial years of my prepping, I was taking far too much stock in my preps. I was checking them way too often. I was basically pulling out every single item in my prepping, which obviously in the early years is quite doable because you don't have very much when you're just starting out in prepping. But I was taking out every item in my prepping every weekend, and I was basically checking it. And this led to a kind of prepper burnout. So it started off good. It came to the middle portion where I've had to use my preps, and now we're where we're at now, where I'm basically not able to obtain any preps at all. The prepping has slided quite a bit. I've changed location as well, and I haven't really adjusted my prepping for this location yet. So basically with a new year 2020, with a new campaign, Prepper 2020, really just to get reinvigorated with my prepping and my channel, I've basically just decided to completely reset my prepping. So I've basically started this off from my Amazon purchase history. Basically, I bought probably 90% of my prepping from Amazon and businesses on Amazon, and this has given me a really good starting point because I'm able to go through my history, look at everything that I've purchased, and then I'm starting to transfer it to this spreadsheet that you can see here. Because, I need to kickstart my preps. I was basically, going through my prepping, and, I was kind of felt like I was just going around and around. And then it came to a point where my prepping stopped. And then it came to a point where my prepping just started going backwards, basically. And that's continued right up to the beginning of this year. So the purchase history, though, has been a really, really good point to start from. Every single item on my purchase history, I'm looking at it, I'm checking it, transferring it to this new inventory sheet. My original inventory sheet was on a computer which broke. It was on a proprietary piece of software, so I couldn't transfer it to this open source program which I'm using now for this spreadsheet, which is LibreOffice. If you're interested, I'll leave a link for this open source software down below. So I'm transferring it from my purchase history to the spreadsheet. I've categorized everything. And obviously it's on a spreadsheet, so once it's complete, you know, I could reorder it. I could list everything by bug in or bug out, you know, location, whether it's volatile or non-volatile, you know, or indeed any other kind of category which I'd later, you know, I'm able to organize it. So obviously going through every single item, I've got a set of drawers specifically set aside for prepping. So as I'm going through my list, and because I'm in a new location, I've been putting things into new locations, and then obviously it's all recorded on the spreadsheet where it is, the condition that it's in, the items which are in my prepping, you know, which are left, just really consist of tools, books, information, and you know, things which have a long shelf life, such as drugs and batteries. You know, they're still perishable, but they have like an extended life. So really, that's what my preps consist of right now. There's nothing new which I can get and which I can add to it, but the items in my prepping, you know, I'm checking them. I'm making sure that batteries are getting charged. I'm checking power banks. I'm ensuring that they're kept up, topped up. My items which assist and which complement anything in my prepping. So like here, I've got my Goal Zero kit. You know, I've got to make sure that that works. I've got to make sure that all the leads and everything for any items work. Because if I've got something that can charge a battery and I've got nothing to connect to it, then, you know, that's both of those items are useless essentially. My OLight here, all my torches and my gear, I'm checking them physically, whether I need to put anything in there where, you know, that helps them. Like I put some stuff on the threads, you know, so that the threading is good and watertight. If I need to do that, you know, I'm doing it. I also have other items, like you can see here on my TK35, which is just a tongue depressor. And this is really like if you're using it out in the externally in the cold, just to assist with removing the batteries. You know, I'm making sure that that's there. And basically this year, because I'm not able to obtain any more preps than what I already have, I've got to invest in what I do have. And that essentially means categorizing it, putting it in its place, and most importantly, it's going to involve my physical preparedness. Mostly this is going to be done through my cycling. I do have a mountain bike which I keep in really good working order, so I'm doing it through my cycling. And also obviously I do have other activities that I do, like such as walking, and I'm thinking about taking up running again. So yeah, it's I feel much better for making this new inventory list. I've got everything down in here. I'm not even a quarter of the way done with it, and it's already quite a long list. But it has its advantages in other ways, like because I'm adding everything to this list and I'm going through and I'm categorizing it. If there's anything which I need to follow it up on that particular item in my prepping, then it's creating from my notes section. It's creating a really good to-do list, which gives me a roadmap for my prepping, gives me a roadmap for my current prepping. And then if I am able to get anything, I'm also discovering my priorities regards to my prepping. You know, what do I need now? What could I get at a later date? So I think if you're in a similar situation to me, I would start with an inventory. If you haven't got one already, inventory all your prepping. It's such a really good exercise to do. It'll take you a long time. You can see here on my spreadsheet, I'm adding to it now, and you can see that the next day to check my preps on that list is March of this year. And March is the first check your preps month, which is moved from February. So if you took part in the campaign and you were doing it in February, It's now March. So that's the inventory list is going to be done probably within the next 2 weeks. Hopefully within the next week, but there is a lot to it. So it's, if you're going to do it, do it right. And then obviously when it comes to Check Your Preps month, that'll be the next time that I open it up and, review everything that's on that list and go through it all again. But, I mean, that's the other thing that the inventory is showing me. It's showing me what I do need to check more often than other things. So it's another advantage to having an inventory. So yeah, if you're in a similar situation to me, I would really encourage you to reset your prepping. Just kind of look at it as if you were doing it from day one. It's just that you happen to have all of this stuff already, so you're basically off to a flying start. So yeah, I hope that's maybe encouraged some people in a situation like I am, just to go back and revisit everything and really discover your prepping again. I mean, that's what this year is for me. It's kind of rediscovering my prepping and reinvigorating it and just getting back into things. But I'm going to make it, better than ever. I might not be able to add anything more to my preps this year. Who knows? But what I do have is going to be better organized. It's going to be checked again with the regularity that it deserves, and my physical preparedness is going to be in a much better position this year. Be safe, be prepared, and I'll see you in the next video. Geordie Prepper here. I hope you liked the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to comment and subscribe and share the video too if you did. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down, and some constructive feedback is always welcomed. The Preppers Discord server is always available to talk to myself and other preppers about prepping and other relevant topics. My other social media is on screen now. You can follow me there, and I usually just use it to post when new videos are available. Don't forget to be safe and be prepared, and also check your preps.